The year is 1925. Côte d'Ivoire, a land rich in natural beauty and diverse cultures, exists under the firm grip of French colonial rule. The lush landscapes and vibrant communities are overshadowed by the heavy hand of colonialism. The seeds of cocoa and coffee, destined to become economic lifelines, are being sown, but the profits largely flow back to France. These crops, while promising prosperity, are cultivated under harsh conditions for the local laborers. The indigenous populations, a vibrant tapestry of ethnicities including the Akan, the Kru and the Mande people, find their lives increasingly shaped by the policies of the French administration. Their rich traditions and cultures are being slowly eroded by the imposition of foreign rule. Traditional power structures are eroded, replaced by a system that favors French interests. The local chiefs and leaders are often sidelined, their authority undermined by the colonial officials. Education and healthcare, while improved under French rule, primarily serve to benefit the colonial system. Schools teach French language and history, sidelining local knowledge and traditions. Healthcare facilities, though more advanced, are often inaccessible to the majority of the population. The seeds of nationalism, however, are also being sown as the Ivorian people begin to imagine a future free from colonial control. Small gatherings and discussions start to take shape, planting the early ideas of independence and self-governance. The French presence in Côte d'Ivoire began in the 17th century, much later than in other West African nations. Initially, the French were drawn to the region for its rich resources and strategic location. Early interactions were primarily focused on trade, with French merchants drawn to the region's natural resources. Trading posts were established, and goods such as ivory, gold, and spices were exchanged. However, by the late 19th century, France's ambition shifted from trade to territorial control. The scramble for Africa saw European powers carving up the continent, and Côte d'Ivoire was no exception. Côte d'Ivoire officially became a French colony in 1893, becoming an integral part of French West Africa. This marked the beginning of a new era of direct colonial administration. This period witnessed the systematic exploitation of the colony's resources and the imposition of French language and culture. The local population was subjected to forced labor, and their lands were often confiscated for colonial projects. The French administration, however, also implemented some infrastructural developments, including the construction of roads, railways, and ports, primarily to facilitate the transportation of resources. These developments, while beneficial, were designed to serve colonial interests. The impact of French colonialism on Côte d'Ivoire was profound and multifaceted. It brought about significant changes in the social, economic, and political landscape of the region. On the one hand, it led to the modernization of infrastructure and the introduction of new agricultural practices. These changes helped to integrate Côte d'Ivoire into the global economy. On the other hand, it resulted in the loss of autonomy, the exploitation of resources, and the suppression of indigenous cultures. The local population faced numerous hardships under the colonial regime. This period sowed the seeds for the nation's future trajectory, shaping its economy, politics, and society for decades to come. The experiences of colonial rule would leave an indelible mark on the collective memory of the Ivorian people. The arbitrary borders drawn by the French, encompassing diverse ethnic groups, would also leave a lasting legacy, contributing to future internal conflicts. These borders often ignored the complex social and cultural landscapes of the region, leading to tensions that would persist long after independence. The mid-20th century saw a rising tide of nationalism sweeping across Africa, a powerful wave that sought to dismantle the chains of colonialism and reclaim sovereignty. Côte d'Ivoire, a nation rich in culture and history, was no exception to this fervent movement. The Second World War, which had significantly weakened European powers, provided the impetus for colonies to demand independence. The war had exposed the vulnerabilities of colonial rulers and emboldened the colonized. Within Côte d'Ivoire, a new generation of leaders emerged, inspired by the ideals of Pan-Africanism and determined to break free from the shackles of colonial rule. These leaders were visionaries, driven by a deep sense of justice and a desire for self-determination. One of the most prominent figures in this movement was Félix Houphouët-Boigny, a charismatic and influential leader who would go on to become the country's first president. His leadership and vision were instrumental in shaping the future of Côte d'Ivoire. Houphouët-Boigny, himself the son of a chief, had initially collaborated with the French administration, believing that cooperation would be more beneficial than confrontation. He sought to improve the lives of his people through strategic alliances. He played a pivotal role in improving the conditions for African farmers under French rule, particularly in the cocoa industry, which was the backbone of the Ivorian economy. His efforts brought significant advancements to the agricultural sector. However, his stance gradually shifted towards independence as he witnessed the continued exploitation of his people and the intransigence of the French government. The harsh realities of colonial rule became increasingly apparent. In 1944, he founded the Parti démocratique de la Côte d'Ivoire, PDCI, which quickly gained mass support. The PDCI became a powerful force in the struggle for independence, rallying the people towards a common goal. The path to independence was not without its challenges. The journey was fraught with obstacles and resistance from those who sought to maintain the status quo. The French government, reluctant to relinquish its grip on its colonies, initially resisted calls for self-rule. They employed various tactics to suppress the growing independence movement. However, the growing strength of the independence movement, coupled with international pressure, eventually forced France to concede. The winds of change were unstoppable, and the call for freedom could no longer be ignored. On August 7, 1960, Côte d'Ivoire declared its independence, with Houphouët-Boigny as its first president. This historic moment marked the dawn of a new era for the nation. One filled with both promise and uncertainty. The journey ahead was challenging, but the spirit of independence and the hope for a brighter future fueled the nation's progress. The Houphouët-Boigny era: stability and progress. The turn of the millennium was a tumultuous period for Côte d'Ivoire. The country faced significant internal conflicts, deeply impacting its social fabric and economy. Civil war erupted in 2002, dividing the nation. The conflict continued for years, causing widespread displacement and hardship for many Ivorians. However, peace efforts began to take shape in the late 2010s. The Ouagadougou peace agreement in 2007 marked a pivotal moment, paving the way for reconciliation. By 2011, the country had made substantial strides towards peace and unity, although challenges remained. The resilience and determination of the Ivorian people played a crucial role in the nation's journey towards healing and rebuilding. Looking ahead to 2025 and beyond, Côte d'Ivoire stands at a crossroads, poised for a transformative future. The country has experienced significant economic growth over the past decade, becoming one of the fastest-growing economies in Africa, with new skyscrapers and business districts emerging. With a focus on diversification, the nation is expanding its infrastructure, investing heavily in education, and embracing technology to ensure sustainable development. Engineers and architects are working tirelessly, while students are being equipped with modern skills. The nation's rich cultural heritage and vibrant arts scene continue to flourish, showcasing traditional dance and contemporary art, attracting tourists from around the world and fostering a deep sense of national pride among its citizens. However, the path forward is not without challenges. Addressing inequality, ensuring political stability, and managing environmental concerns are critical for the country's future. Political leaders are in constant discussion. The people of Côte d'Ivoire remain hopeful, united by a shared vision of progress, driven by a vision of progress and unity, participating in community projects and initiatives. As the nation moves forward, it is building on a foundation of hard work and resilience. It carries with it the lessons of its past, remembering the pivotal moments that shaped its history, striving for a brighter and more inclusive future for all Ivorians, where every citizen can thrive.